Hello everybody, my name is Leo and in today's video we're gonna share how to properly record the Kemper profiler stage. If you follow my channel, you know that I did a demo review of the Kemper profiler stage that you can find in the card above. And in this video I pointed out that the USB connections of the Kemper profiler stage doesn't pass through audio data. So the Kemper basically cannot be used as an audio interface. Actually, in order to properly record the Kemper profiler stage, I found three possibilities. The first possibility is to use the XLR main outputs of the Kemper in order to connect the Kemper itself to your audio interface with two XLR cables. The second one is to use, instead of the XLR main output, to use the main output with a normal audio jack, the one we are using for instance for the guitar. The third option is to connect the Kemper to your audio interface using the SPDIF output of the Kemper. In this way, the Kemper and your audio interface are sharing digital data using the SPDIF connection that carries digital audio. Let's analyze these three possibilities. The first possibility is pretty simple. You have to connect two XLR cable to your audio interface from the XLR output of the Kemper, and that's all. But in this case, the signal is converted from digital to analog and to analog to digital three times. The first time, when the Kemper convert the signal of the guitar from analog to digital in order to process it internally. The second time, when the Kemper convert the signal from digital to analog in order to send it from the XLR main output. And the third conversion happens when your audio interface converts once more the data from analog to digital in order to record them in your digital audio workstation. The second option is basically equal to the first one, other than we are using the unbalanced output of the Kemper using normal jacks and not using XLR. In my opinion, this solution is the less preferable of the three because it has basically all the main drawbacks of the first option in terms of number of times the signal is converted, and you are also using a more noisy connection between the Kemper and your digital audio workstation because you are using an unbalanced connection. Now let's talk about the third option. With the third option we are connecting the Kemper and your audio interface using SPDIF, using basically a digital connection. In this case, first of all, your audio interface has to have an SPDIF input that is not so common. I found a few audio interface with an SPDIF input, and finally I decided to buy the Focusrite 4 Pre, which actually has an SPDIF input. With this solution, basically the signal is converted only once, when the guitar is converted by the Kemper from analog to digital, and then the digital signal is passed to your audio interface and then recorded into your digital audio workstation digitally, so no more conversion here. So in this case we should have the most preferable solution as the signal is preserved. Nevertheless, there are few things that has to be taken into consideration when we are using this solution. You have to carefully set both the Kemper and your digital audio interface in order to be sure that the two units, the Kemper and your audio interface, are synchronized, the master clock is set properly, and you are using the same sample rate, for instance 48 kHz. The Kemper stage can be used both as a slave or as a master clock, while the previous version of the Kemper profiler can serve only as master of the clock, and we are now verifying together how to set the Kemper in order to properly use this solution. Now let's set up the Kemper. This is the Kemper just switch on. In order to properly set the SPDIF sample rate, we have to go to the output section here, and now we can see here that we have SPDIF clock that is set to 44.1 kHz. Now in my audio interface, as you can see here, I have set it to 48 kHz. So the clock speed is not synchronized. And this is the sound you have. So there is a little bit of harshness in it. If I change the clock and I set it to 48, now the audio interface and the Kemper are synchronized. And the sound is much better. Let's see how the audio interface is set. I have the sample rate here set to 48 kHz. The clock source is internal, so in this case I'm using the audio interface as the master clock, and this is a feature that only the Kemper profiler stage allows us. It can be slave of the clock, while the other Kemper machines can only be master of the clock. And then lastly, I have set the SPDIF source to RCA. Now, just for comparison, let's try the XLR connections. Basically, I'm using the XLR main output connected via two XLR cables to a Lynx Aurora converter, which is an high quality audio converter. So you can use these sounds as a reference in order to compare the SPDIF connections with the analog one, the XLR ones. So in conclusion, the third solution, the solution that uses the SPDIF, the digital one, is my favorite, as we avoid many conversion digital analog, analog digital, and should be the one that respects the most your signal. But obviously there are some drawbacks. First of all, your audio interface that has to have SPDIF. You have to carefully and properly match the sample rate of your Kemper and of your digital audio workstation, and you have to decide which of the two is the master of the clock. The first option, the one that uses XLR connection, is my second preferable one, as it is very simple, but you need a very high quality audio interface with very nice converters in order not to lose signal. In any case, with all the solutions, it is not possible to record one channel with the dry signal and other two stereo channels for the effects. And this is the most important drawback, in my opinion, of the whole Kemper profiler lineup. Because when you mix your performance, it's much more preferable to have one track with the dry signal of your guitar and amp, and other two stereo tracks with the effects, so you can decide the amount of effects while mixing. Currently, it is not possible with the Kemper because the SPDIF only pass two digital channels, left and right, and so the effects and the amp signal are mixed together. So we reached the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did it, please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. It would be of great help. See you in the next video. Bye bye.